What's going on, you rogues, rebels, and renegades? Welcome to episode 61 of the Rogue Country podcast. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're keeping well, and I hope you're listening to new music. Today we are brought to you by Pick Print Screen Printing. That's P-I-C, Pick Print Screen Printing, an independent Liverpool-based family-run hand screen printing company. We use them for all our t-shirt printing, for all the Rogue merch you see. They do the mugs, they do the t-shirts, they do my t-shirts, they do Josh Bettis' t-shirts, they print band merch, workwear, business uniforms, and they even print club and sports team wear and apparel lines. Whatever you need print screen printing for, Pick Print Screen Printing is the ones to go to. Go over to their Instagram at pick_print_screen_printing. Follow them on Facebook. Email them at pickprintscreenprinting@gmail.com. Tell them the Rogues sent you and they will hook you up. I have used these guys for over 6 years now. I would not use anyone else. I can't recommend them enough. And if you're a musician, if you're an artist, if you're a band, if you're a sports team, whatever you're doing, if you need merch printing, Paul at Pick Print Screen Printing is your guy. Before we get into some tour announcement, I want to give a shout out to John Craig if you're listening today. Thank you so much for your message. John didn't know American Aquarium were touring. Listened to our podcast, found out they were touring and they were playing Manchester and bought tickets. That means the fucking world to me, John. Thank you so much for listening and thank you so much for supporting live music. I'm glad putting these tour dates. We're not getting sponsored by them. We're not asking for promotion. I just believe these tours are amazing and you should go check them out. And yeah, let's get into it. Up first, starting this week, you're listening to this on the 6th of February on Monday. American Aquarium are coming over this week. Starting February 9th and Thursday, they're in London. On the 10th, they're in Manchester. On the 11th, they're in Glasgow. And on the 12th, they're in Leeds. You do not want to miss these. American Aquarium from February 9th to February 12th are playing London, Manchester, Glasgow, and Leeds. I've bought a ticket. John Craig's bought a ticket. And now you need to buy a ticket. After that, we've got John R. Miller and JP Harris coming over in March. So on March 9th in Glasgow, March 10th in Newcastle upon Tyne, March 11th in Manchester, March 12th in Nottingham, and March 14th in London. These guys are phenomenal songwriters. If you've not listened to John R. Miller or JP Harris, get to know and then buy your tickets. You've got a month to learn those lyrics. After that, in April, we've got Mike and the Moonpies coming over. The UK really is lucky when it comes to country music right now, and you do not want to miss any of these tours. Mike and the Moonpies kick off things on the 1st of April at Newcastle upon Tyne. Then they're in London on the 2nd of April. They're in Nottingham on the 3rd of April. 4th of April, they're in Manchester, and I'm opening for them. It's going to be insane. And on the 5th of April, they're playing in Oxford, and I know the great Ags Connolly is opening for them there. So you do not want to miss this tour. There are going to be other country artists playing in the UK this year, and I'll do my best to tell you about them. If you're touring, if you're a musician or an artist or a band and are playing some country gigs here in the UK, drop me a line. I will include you in all of this. And thank you so much for listening. Make sure you get your tickets, and let's get on to today's show. Today we have My Crooked Teeth, and just a bit of spoilers before this episode. I nearly went an hour without asking him why he was called My Crooked Teeth. Jake Alahowski is an Oxfordshire-based musician. He's in the Americana realm, he's in the country realm, and his latest single, You're Gonna Break My Heart, he recently released, plants his feet firmly in the country realm. We get into what makes a country song, and especially what makes a UK country artist a UK country artist. This is a phenomenal talk. His 2014 debut EP, Watch the Darkness Stumble Home, is great. All his music is out on Spotify. Go support him on Bandcamp. Make sure you follow all his pages. But let's get into this. Without further ado, this is episode 61 of the Rogue Country Podcast with Mike West and My Crooked Teeth. Thanks so much for joining us, man. Obviously, you sent over the new single, You're Gonna Break My Heart, which came out. Was it last week it came out?
Yeah, last Friday. So, so just over a week ago now, yeah.
Awesome. But before we get into that, I want to take it right back to your origin stories and stuff. When was it you kind of picked up a guitar, or even when did you first really become aware of music, and what were you listening to when it kind of clicked?
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess pretty a typical story. Growing up, it was very much a case of, like, you know, my dad's record collection, and that was really where like the country thing
Mm.
started as well. And like it wasn't always the coolest country,
No.
although stuff I've got loads of love for. The big Billy Ray Cyrus album, George Strait, Carlin Carter, that sort of thing.
Mm.
Um, but my dad had amazing taste, and I would go and see him every weekend with my sister. And it was like who would get to choose the cassette in the back of his car, sort of thing. So I guess that kind of gave us that like involvement,
Yeah.
and we were making decisions about what we liked and which were our favorite and things like that. So yeah, that was really where I became aware of it, and just that the sound of that music was just
Mm.
quite embedded from that really young age. And there was an artist in particular called Nick Lowe,
Mm.
who is probably my favorite songwriter now to this day. And his album, The Impossible Bird, that was like a family favorite. So it was all that was always there. And then, but I was a drummer
Oh
originally.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and in the kind of punk rock bands,
Mm.
that's pretty typical for like the millennial guys who all
Yeah.
grew up on like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and all that sort of stuff. It's like kind of massive at that like
Yeah.
that age for I think for a lot of us. So did all that kind of thing, and then just when I was at uni, I just wanted to be more involved in the writing side of it, and I just felt a bit limited about my decision making in a band
Mm.
behind the drums. But I playing drums kind of allows you to get a really good sense of like structure,
Yeah.
and because so often you're playing the same thing for so much of the song, you can hear where like, well, that really should have something should have come in there, or like
Yeah.
we should have hit another chorus at that point or something. So I kind of got that perspective, and I thought maybe I sort of felt like I had a good sense for that kind of thing. And then yeah, I just picked up the guitar, and for ages I was very very much on the first 11 chords that everybody learns, and then just
Wait,
got everyone.
there's 11 chords.
Yeah, yeah,
Shit, I need to know
exactly.
quite
Yeah,
this.
no, yeah. The seven, trust me, they even go further than that. Yeah, and I was as surprised as you. So like, and you can get quite far, like
Mm.
songwriting, can't you, with those things?
Yeah.
And yeah, I did that for ages, and then had a band that we kind of you know gave a bit more of a real go,
Mm.
coming out of the uni through the 20s and that sort of thing. Um, and then that kind of quietened down once like our bassist was Italian, he was moving back to Italy, and then I
Mm.
started a family, so a really kind of typical story. And My Crooked Teeth was a chance to take all the songs that were a bit too quiet for them,
Yeah.
for that we're a bit of a noisier band, and it was great because I always knew that I wanted to try and do something at least country-ish
Yeah.
and very the folky and all that sort of
Mm.
thing. And then now I'm in my mid 30s, and it's just been a great sort of expression of that side of stuff. And now it's starting to creep, possibly getting a bit closer to the kind of stuff I was making when I was 24 with
Mm.
like things I'm working on now. But in the years in between, it's been a bit nice chance to do something on the quieter end of that sort of thing, and focus on the country and that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So it was more like the 80s, 90s, like wave of country that really got you back in the day. That's awesome.
Yeah, that very much that big. I mean, I guess it's stuff that my dad knew would like resonate with his kids in the back, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like big choruses, big like that, just that great country sound that like I don't know. I think people sort of look upon it quite favorably now.
Mm.
I imagine, but I don't really know. I wouldn't have had the perspective at the time, but I imagine at the time people really into their country music probably felt it was a bit dirty, it was a bit,
Yeah.
overproduced, a bit too poppy. But then watching where things have gone with the genre, it's kind of like I think it's seen as like almost like a bit of a golden age of its
Yeah.
own, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
if there's one thing I've learned about country fans is they're never fucking happy with what country music. They're like Star Wars fans in a way.
yeah,
They're never happy with what they've got. It's always, well,
20 years ago was the best.
the prequels were better. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah, that's it. Yeah. And then you got like Joshua Headley, making his like 90s throwback album. I think
Yeah.
American Aquarium did a bunch of 90s
yeah, the
covers,
bangers,
didn't they?
slappers, and
Yeah,
twangers.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one. And it's like, yeah, this is like really, really good stuff. Like, and I remember I remember being at school and somebody singing "Achy Breaky Heart," and me being like, "Oh yeah, Billy Ray Cyrus off the Some Gave It All album," and he was like, "Bloody hell! Like, you're not meant to actually like know who that is." It's meant to just a kind of a joke song, and I was there like, "Oh, I listen to that every Friday." I just thought it was really good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing, because I remember coming up in the 90s, being a kid, and that Achy Breaky Heart was fucking massive.
Yeah.
Back then, I remember it was like played at like every kind of family function. It was played at every like disco,
Wedding and stuff like
yeah,
that.
it was
Yeah.
huge. Like it's it's not an understatement to say how big those artists were back in the day. And
Yeah.
it's interesting to see it come back now and then, how everyone kind of borrows from different eras, and they're always saying like how the modern stuff sucks.
Mm.
People 30 years ago were going to be saying the modern stuff sucks. It's really
Yeah.
just
Oh, definitely.
people
Yeah.
just aren't ever happy.
And it's great now. Like just as I need his name, it's going to escape me. I think it's called Jesse Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you're familiar. Like, I feel like he's somebody who has lifted some of the really, really nice aspects of that 90s country. Like, it's really polished production. Everything sounds really bright and clean. But like his songwriting and like the telecaster playing, it's kind of straight out of like the 60s stuff. And like the honky tonk, like Emily Harris type thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, this is great. Like he's sort of managed to find a way to. The vocals are so clean, the harmonies are so strong. It sounds just like a Billy Ray album to me. But like the songwriting's a bit more kind of a bit more refined and a bit cooler, I think.
Yeah.
And now it's all just there, isn't it? People, like you say, they can dip into any part of the history and take the bits that kind of work for them. So so I don't know, maybe people will look favorably on the modern stuff in time, but
maybe when we're we're 50, someone will be like, Florida Georgia Line had some good points. And it's like
it's inevitable in a weird way, isn't it? Yeah.
But you, like, obviously with Jesse Daniel, Joshua Headley and stuff, you obviously still have a love for country and like the modern stuff. Is there anyone you kind of listening to now at the moment that you're really digging?
Probably an obvious shout, but Tyler Childers for me is again, it kind of a similar thing, although I think he does lean like into the old school a little bit heavier than someone like Jesse Daniel, but like just great sounding, like kind of natural feeling albums that it's not trying to be a throwback, but he just has great songs. The Country Squire album, that's absolute top 5, at least top 10 country albums for me. Maybe even like albums, really. And I think and he's kind of become a bit of an obvious shout, but I think with probably quite good reason, really.
Yeah.
Like, great songwriting. Like if you can get into his vocals, it's like not for everyone. But like if you're into it, then like it's so distinct and all his own, isn't it? Like his style. Yeah, so I think he comes to mind right now, definitely.
No, awesome. It's interesting because, like, obviously with Rogue, we try and promote artists and things, and we put up like videos of like 5 artists you need to listen to, and we've purposely not put Tyler Childers,
right?
And we've not put because obviously Zach Bryan's massive, and we haven't put him, and we occasionally we don't really push Call to Wall as much because I always kind of, I don't know if it's because I'm so close to it, they're like, in my head, they're already huge. They're already like, like Red Rocks and stuff. But it's really interesting how like people kind of have that perspective that they are still underground, and I think that still helps push their kind of message and audience fan base as the underdogs. Everyone in country music or any genre really wants that underdog to kind of champion.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, man. Like they obviously, like, in kind of, to people who really like the music and the sound, they're truly like really established. But it's funny, isn't it, like British audiences, like from our kind of perspective as two guys in this country who really like that kind of music, it's so American centric, like in terms of the real big names, that they can play like, God, they're on their biggest days, they've probably played like Madison Square Garden or something, or like something massive for like a big event or something. And then I wonder how many people you'd need to walk around God, not where I live. I'm probably the only one who listens to them, sort of thing. Like, and I imagine when they come here, I know they're sort of at that mid-size like now, but the feeling is that it's still very underground, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, but then obviously, like in Texas, they probably play like venues the size of the desert, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, and we're at a disadvantage booking American artists and having American artists come over, because you have bands like Mike and the Moon Pies, who are fucking selling out venues across America, and I'm playing with them in April, and they're playing Manchester at
Brilliant.
like a bar,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
mad. They're playing the Bullingdon, you know, that's
yeah,
like with Ags actually. Yeah,
yeah,
who you've had on, who is well, I say he's a friend of mine. We've probably hung out like 10 times or something,
mm.
but I is a bit of a local hero for me, which I think he's well aware of. But yeah, he's playing for them, and yeah, like same deal. It's like the Bullingdon, which I've played 50 times. It's not like big esteemed venue. They get great stuff in all the
Mm.
time, but like you say, in their own country, they're probably playing
Yeah,
places almost like 10 times as big,
yeah.
literally. Yeah,
So it's both a good thing as a fan.
yeah,
'Cause I remember I saw Tyler Childs in like an 80 capacity venue
amazing.
a
Yeah,
few
yeah,
years ago, and then you see him like doing like two sold out shows in London
yeah,
in
yeah,
February or
yeah.
whenever it
I
is.
know it's sold out because I didn't get a ticket. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was absolutely gutted.
yeah, and Tommy Prime's opening for him as well, and he's
Oh
going to be
wow.
one that's gonna, I think, is slipping under the radar at the moment. And again, in the UK, we're kind of, you're getting to see an artist in a venue that
Mm.
you wouldn't get. Like, that's kind of like they're 10 years ahead of that in America now.
Yeah,
It's like they wouldn't
yeah,
be
yeah,
playing that size venue anymore over there, and we're in an interesting point where you can see the traction happening. Like when Tyler came back and was
yeah,
playing 2,000 capacity venues, like on the next tour, it's like something's happening.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just trying to get that audience to pay attention to what's at home, as well as the interesting thing.
Yeah, I think I don't know, like if I can sort of speak on this with like any real authority, but like I feel like country music in Britain has like had a much bigger spotlight on it for a few like strange reasons. Hard to say exactly why, but yeah, like I don't imagine the same kind of artists at the same point in their career would be playing the 2000 seater venues
Yeah,
in the even in the UK 10 years ago. I think he would have been in those kind of 400
yeah,
clubs, even with the career that he has back in America.
mm,
Um, Definitely feels like there's been a bit of a spotlight on things, but then that tends to be like I'll get in a conversation about something like that, and I never want to like gatekeep or tell somebody they're listening to the wrong stuff or anything, but they'll say, oh yeah, it's like kind of like the Shires or something like
mm,
that, isn't it? It's like really kind of has a very kind of pop
yeah,
centric side to it, and I have absolutely nothing against any of that, but I think the fact that Tyler can come in over and be playing to 2,000 people is probably like a pretty good sign, really. I think it
yeah,
would have been quite different 15 years ago. But
yeah,
as I say, that's only my
yeah,
perspective. I can't really say on any authority. But yeah, it feels like it's been in better shape than it has been,
yeah.
definitely.
No, definitely. And I think because even like Western AF and Gems on VHS have really kind of set
Yeah,
up like an audience over here as well. Like whenever
yeah,
I've
definitely.
been to gigs or played gigs or flyed gigs, people have been like, "Oh, I've seen so and so over on the Gems YouTube." And the age of the internet has really helped push these artists into places of the world they wouldn't normally get to.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing for that, definitely. Yeah, Western AF, I mean, that's just like a dream channel for me.
Yeah,
Like, put it is you kind of has that thing, doesn't it, where you just put it on just because they've put it
yeah,
together, and you're like, well, this is probably going to be great. So,
yeah,
has that sort of mark of quality, doesn't it? Yeah,
mm,
definitely helps take it over the borders, I think, doesn't it?
yeah. That's the thing. I think it's just what the UK doesn't really have is a kind of like an organization that people have that much trust in
Yeah,
like that. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that, like Bear over the Depression Sessions is one of those guys who's pushing for those, and it's you just kind of like waiting for it to break. But Gems had Benjamin Todd and Western AF
mm,
had Coulter, and you need that type of name to just
yeah,
push it into the next level. And it's a really interesting thing when you finally see it tip. And
yeah, yeah.
it is basically, I feel like the UK is just at this tipping point for country and roots music, and it's a really interesting time
Mm.
to be around.
Yeah, definitely. We're really lucky in Oxford. We have a chap called Mike who does empty room promotions,
Yeah.
and he put. I've only played one show in the last 3 years, mostly because of COVID,
Mm.
and then having a second baby. But yeah, like quite a time for the whole world over. But that was with Vandaliers, who were like great.
Yeah.
They were great old time. Wild boys. I'll say that much. And me and my dad went to go and see Courtney Marie Andrews, and that was him again, and he's doing Mike and the Moon Pies. I'm sure you've got your equivalent probably where you are of those guys who, and I just think thank God for him because it's probably like the last 7 like country gigs that I've been to. I've been lucky to see them just down the road for me, and it's like this one promoter, and so that makes me feel like I'm really involved in it. If he stopped tomorrow, like that
Yeah.
is I don't think there's anyone else be picking up the slack.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's there, but like we don't. It doesn't really feel like we've got the foundations in the same way,
No.
does it? Like
No,
it's
not
only
yet.
thanks to probably 10, 20 really important people that we get them over in the way that we do. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Because that's the thing, like, because my equivalent's basically me.
right,
I
yeah,
have to book everyone that I
really
kind of want to see over. That's how like the Sierra Farrell show happened. Was just like,
amazing.
I heard from, I think it was Chris Dover, because he's got a venue in Bradford, was talking about how he might be having her over, and he gave me the email, and we started kind of
Oh,
going that
great,
way. But it
yeah,
is kind of, at the moment with Rogue, it's just sending kind of Hail Mary emails to artists we like and their managers and seeing if we can get them over, which is the interesting thing. But it is kind of like, I've taken my influence from Empty Rooms, Square Roots,
amazing,
and
yeah,
those type of people that have been doing it for so long.
great, yeah,
And
yeah,
there is like kind of that gap up north where we don't
mm,
have them artists come. We have Manchester, but
right.
it's not as like frequent, which is, it's the UK again. It's just kind of, you have to
London
kind of,
centric, isn't it? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and it's a shame, and like, and thank God you're doing that, man. That's like absolutely brilliant to hear, because like, yeah, like as I say, like if I can bank the last like 5 to 10 great country gigs that I've been to on one guy, one promoter,
yeah,
and as I say, like you think, yeah, if and when that stops, like, well,
mm,
that's all of that just dried up,
yeah,
so it's so important. It really does come down to like sort of a few key individuals in a way.
mm.
But that Sierra show must have been amazing to get that booking.
To have it kind of locked in
Mm.
was insane anyway. But it was kind of one of those things where it's like, it was kind of like when Tyler first came over, and you're like, how many people, like, obviously they've got a huge online presence. How many people are actually going to give a fuck and buy
Yeah,
tickets
yeah,
and come down? And the first like venue we were meant to have, it was 100 capacity venue.
right,
It's just in
okay,
the bottom of a pub that I've got kind of a deal with.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that sold out in less than 24 hours. So I was like,
right.
oh shit.
So people are coming.
People are coming. And
Yeah,
then because of the demand, they moved the dates and moved to bigger venues. And because I had them booked in, they were like, if you've got a bigger venue, we'll stick with you. Luckily, I managed to get one. And again, 300 tickets sold out. And that show was just unreal for
yeah, I bet
like,
it was.
to
Yeah,
see people coming from across the north, because there wasn't any. There was Ireland, and then there was nowhere else in the north
right. Yeah,
or
yeah,
from Scotland. So we had the entire north of England coming to this gig, and Wales. It
amazing.
was
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. Oh
But
man, yeah, fantastic. What a great booking. Yeah,
yeah, but it's those type of things. But then it is the point that you want to get a UK artist on the bill as well, and that's
yeah,
where it's awesome to see you playing with like Vandaliers and stuff, and Ags is playing with Mike and the Moon Pies, where
yeah.
it's just as important to have a UK artist supporting them as it is to bring the American artist over. I think that's the important thing that a lot of national promoters aren't paying attention to,
Mm. Yeah,
is
yeah.
the nurturing that homegrown talent, because a national promoter doesn't really look at the local scene or
No,
anything.
no.
They'll just see if they can get an American artist over as well, and if
Mm.
they're going to bring someone. Because I remember Sierra was meant to come over with Arlo McKinley,
Oh, cool.
and that was absolutely incredible. I was like, oh fuck. And
Yeah,
then when
yeah.
they moved dates, he couldn't do it, and I got
Mm.
back on sending an Andy Dufresne an email a week, just, can I get a UK artist? Can I get a UK artist? Can I get a UK artist? And
Yeah.
to see folks like yourself starting to support these guys,
Mm.
it's what needs to happen. Because I've got Ashley Harden, who lives down in Cornwall, found a load of Opry magazines from the 60s on eBay.
Oh, wow.
And he
Incredible.
got me onto them, so I bought a load of them. And you see, back in the day in the 60s, man, like Phil Brady and the Ranchers, like a Liverpool band, were opening for Buck Owens and Willie Nelson. And
Amazing.
it's like, the history is there of UK
Yeah,
artists
yeah.
opening for these guys. But then it kind of dried up, and they started bringing their own people over, which is, if they're friends and they know what they're going to do, it is what it is.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you should still have that kind of nurtured homegrown talent on those shows to just try and give them a boost, and hopefully do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And of course, it's yeah, one thing nurtures the other, doesn't it? Then
Mm,
then that person becomes a stronger support act the next time you've got
yeah,
someone in. There's someone else, someone that came to see so and so saw the support last time and quite liked it, and so then they go and see them again, and
yeah.
it kind of all
And
feeds back
eventually
into
become a
itself.
headliner in their own right. Like there's
Yeah.
not, from everything I've listened of you, there's no reason you shouldn't be headlining venues and stuff because your songs are that strong. You have that great sound.
Well,
That
thanks, man. That's very, very sweet of you to say. I think, yeah, it's a funny one. Like, I mean, that's very, very kind. I'm probably a bit directionless. Like, I think it's always been a bit like, oh, this is just a thing I do, and like, I would find like I've had a bunch of songs on the back burner, and then the most recent one that you've picked up and been really sort of sweet to shine a bit of a light on, like that was the most recent one. I've probably
mm.
got like seven. I'm sure you've been guilty of this as well. I think we probably all are. But like, I've got a bunch of recordings in various states of completion that go back like 5 or 6 years, and then somehow this one's jumped the queue. And I think, well, that's great, but like, why didn't I just get the other one that out the door, sort of
Yeah.
thing? And so I can be a bit rudderless for that sort of thing. So I'm probably like my own worst enemy in that sense. But I'm really lucky in that I've been in Oxford for so long that I kind of have like quite a lot of goodwill built
Mm.
up locally, and that it's probably I feel a bit less so since COVID. But again, I think that's kind of a universal feeling for
Yeah.
a lot of people. Like I feel a bit more separate from things that are going on. But from my old band days, we're very much like one of the local bands that people might go and see, sort of thing.
Mm.
So I had loads of friends and contacts and that sort of thing. So I think that helps me a bit, even now, all these years later. Um, but yeah, as so in as much as your very kind words, like I feel a bit more in a space to be able to focus on that now that I
Yeah.
paused the first band to have a family, and we've now got two of the boys, and even the younger one is starting to just get that little bit older. And I think, yeah, okay, I can probably commit a bit more time to this now and be a bit more organized with it. And I'm absolutely certain I'm going to get much more out this year than I would have done. So, yeah, I mean, it'd be lovely to have things pick up steam, but
Mm.
as you know, I'd literally be the last person I need to tell. Like, you just don't know, do you?
No.
Like, you play one gig and it's like, well, bloody hell, that was 140 people, and I must be a musical genius because just look at all these people. And then the next thing you play, it's 7 people and a dog, isn't it? And
Yeah. No, totally.
take them back down to earth. Yeah, I never sort of, and I think removing that pressure has sort of probably made things a bit more fun as well.
Yeah.
But for all that, now that COVID is hopefully really behind us as much as it can be, yeah, I really do want to immerse myself in the gigs and
Yeah.
the circuit and the scene and all the new faces that are knocking about much more than I think I would have done over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that will allow me to build up a bit of momentum. But yeah, who can say how these things are going to go?
Yeah. No, it's just a lot of grinding out and hoping you
Yeah.
get the right things. What I always felt with kind of down your way in Oxford and stuff, obviously,
Mm.
like with Ags being there and stuff, it does seem an empty room. Promotions, it does seem like it has that level of a scene kind of happening like Sheffield, where it's got those kind of things in
Yeah,
motion.
it's funny in Oxford. It's always been like Americana, like for whatever reason. And when I was in like my Americana band, this would come up. We were like, "What is it about Oxford? Like, why Americana?" And I don't think there's any like real straight up reason, but we had like the Dreaming Spires. They were sort of quite. They did some, and they had ties to like alt country
Yeah.
of like the late '90s, I think, and like had sort of a bit of sort of history to them. And there was just loads and loads of bands who lent into that stuff,
Yeah.
and dipped into it, but then in the same way that they were like rock and roll and
Yeah.
like indie and that sort of thing, rather than like the pure country thing. But Ags is definitely, I think, our shining
Yeah.
light. And I've got a load of friends and musicians who like love country music as much as I do, and we all say like he kind of gave us the confidence to be like, I want to try and make something that sounds really pure in
Yeah.
that way that he has done. I think it was weird. I think he just kind of like validated it for people. Like, you
Yeah.
can make this and it can sound like, you're not
Yeah.
putting on a a shirt for it, like it's real for you kind of thing.
Yeah. No,
And
it was like for me, it was one of the first. Like I don't like to use the word authentic, but honest
mm,
English country records that I'd heard
yeah,
in a long, long time, and it was really cool to see that. And it's also, he's not, huge in
no,
terms of massive venues and stuff. He's still really down to earth playing, relatively small venues and stuff. So it feels accessible, it feels tangible,
yeah.
but he set the bar to a standard where if you're coming to put out a record and you want to call it country, then you better be bringing something as honest as what Ags is
Yeah.
bringing.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right to say that. It's funny to hear someone else sort of like talk about it because like, yeah, that's the kind of space he's occupied in my mind for
Yeah.
such a long time, and yeah, it's just funny like that he is perceived in that way by other people like yourself as well
Mm.
because yeah, it was like hearing it, it was like wow, like this sounds so like real, like you say,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Like just instantly just made it just harks back to that sound. It's
Mm.
like, how has he done this? Like,
Yeah.
it's so much harder than it sounds, isn't it? Like, well,
Mm.
it's the classic thing about country music. Everybody thinks it's so simple,
Yeah.
and you think, oh, okay, well, it's three chords. Like, I can play three chords. Like, yeah, I'm sure I could write a country song, and it's like it's actually like really, really, really hard. And like I've probably written like 100 country adjacent songs and then like maybe 10
Mm.
country songs that like don't really dip into anything else. And like for whatever reason they've not sort of become part of my stuff that I've released. But that was like with this one that's just come out, You're Gonna Break My Heart. It was like a challenge to myself.
Mm.
Like everything and I'm sure this is something that you're familiar with again, like the temptation for me has always been like I definitely want to release songs that I can point to pretty much every lyric in it and say that may not be like autobiographical like to an absolute T, but that's something I know and experience. I'm
Yeah.
not going to go and start singing about like the rodeo or
No.
like a desert I've never been to or like some mountain top or something. Like
Yeah.
I'm not. I would feel that's just not my personal own take on it, sort of
Yeah.
thing. And so things tend to be like my own experiences and kind of done in a way that just kind of feels natural to me. But this was very much like, well, I'm not going to sing about some bar in America that I've never been, but I am going to really, really, really try and nail the genre. Like
Yeah.
I do as far as the genre feels, and like this is the only song of mine out that really doesn't actually relate to my actual own feelings. Like I don't have this person. I'm in a happy marriage. So
Yeah.
like it's not like something that I was drawing from a real experience, which is really out of the ordinary for me personally.
Mm.
Um, because I just wanted to see if I could just nail
Yeah.
like the way that like each four line verse works. It's like there's a really specific um feeling and manner that they go to.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a self sort of challenge really, because it's just so much harder than it sounds.
Yeah. It
Anyone
is
who's tried to do
because
it will tell you.
it's not just writing a song, it's telling a story
Mm.
from another person's perspective in less than 3 minutes,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah,
that's an insane thing to do. If you asked, an author to write a story with a beginning, middle, and end in 3 pages,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
they're gonna struggle to get everything they want into it. But there's, songwriters and country musicians who can fit. Then, like if you look at what Towns Van Zandt accomplished in
mm.
Pancho and Lefty in less than 5 minutes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's insane.
It's the ultimate sort of like economic
Yeah,
songwriting, isn't it? Like everything, and there's no like the intro will reflect something else that you've heard. The refrain is borrowed from the same part. Like every part of the song harks back to something else, and then
yeah.
it's 2 minutes 40 seconds long. And it's like, yeah, really, really disciplined and completely focused. And then
Mm.
it's crazy because like the guys that I was listening to really trying to get in the zone, one guy in particular, Charlie Pride,
Yeah,
I guess he's probably my favorite light of the real like golden age 60s stuff.
so
It's
good.
like, oh yeah, I mean, and his voice just like pure honey, on
Mm.
the ears. Yeah. And it's like it makes me laugh. Like you go 4 years into his career, and like then the songs that I was really enjoying are just off an album called Charlie Pride's 10th album, and it's like bloody hell, man! Like they just didn't stop. You know,
No.
they would write the song like that and smash it out, I imagine, in no time at all because they were all like elite players, and then just go and do another one,
Yeah.
and then 4 or 5 months later he would do another 10 songs, like, and yeah, it's just so efficient. So, and I guess that was the industry at the time, wasn't it? Like
Yeah.
we talk about disposable music now, but
Mm.
those guys then, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously everyone knows about the Beatles, like the amount of albums in 7 years, and
Yeah.
really like country before the rock and rolls took over in Britain as well as America. Yeah, like Buck Owens, it was like, God, no, they were just putting out vinyls every
Yeah.
other week.
Yeah.
And
I didn't realize this. It was Dolly Parton's birthday the other day, and I was looking through her albums and stuff, and Jolene wasn't until like her 13th or 14th record.
it's like, yeah, and she did a bunch of that. A bunch of those she did with Porter Wagoner.
Yeah.
I think she did 12,
Yeah.
and then she made a solo album. It's like imagine that. Like most artists now, like if they
Yeah.
hit their 12th album, it's like, wow, you've been around the block. You know,
Yeah.
you've been in it for the long haul. And she made 12 just with the guy before she had a career.
Yeah.
Like it's just absolutely wild. Yeah. So they were the ultimate sort of like economic efficient songwriting storyteller guys, weren't they? And
Mm.
it was a great challenge to sort of try and tap into a bit of that because it really is a lot harder than it sounds.
Yeah. And what was it kind of, you said you had like country adjacent songs. What was it that you felt made them adjacent?
I guess
Because
that's a really
I was listening to your 2014 EP, and a lot of that to me was like stripped back country songs. If that had kind of come out,
yeah,
you know, if you'd have come out with a face tattoo and like screaming certain parts of them, you'd be on Gems on VHS right now. Like,
yeah,
I feel like those songs, they have that bare bones raw structure of country songs.
yeah. Well, yeah. I guess those probably are really like Rhodes on that was very much like the finger picking with the classic sort of like Johnny Cash style thing. No, they were, and I think most of those probably hit that mark for me. I don't know why. I think I always just put those in my mind as a bit more like folk, but that really only comes down to one of those things where somebody decides it's folk and somebody else decides it's country. You know, I guess I maybe was just a bit less comfortable putting the term on back then. I mean, worryingly, that is like 9 years ago now, so it just makes me feel slightly sick. But yeah, I guess in that point, I felt just a bit more comfortable like using that term. It's funny, like to go back to it, and the fact that it is 9 years ago, and I listen to it now, and I'm really proud of it, and I love the songs, and occasionally like I play them, and they're the ones that like if I've done a stream over COVID and stuff, and if I put out a request for any requests, they tend to come off that EP. So it's like, well, it's very sweet. You know, happy to sort of dip back into them. But you know how just time goes on, you just always want to look to the next thing, don't you? And like I just the fact that the EP is called Watch the Darkness Stumble Home, I was like, what on earth is that about? like what kind of serious trip was I on at that moment in time? And but that's the beauty of it. It's that they capture what I felt was really important at the time, was that I wanted it to feel poetic and heartfelt and all that sort of thing. And I think the next EP that I release, I'm pretty confident it's just going to be called Pretty Good, because like that's I just want people to get a sense of me a bit more as I am now, which is a bit lighter about the whole thing, and less conscious about being taken like really seriously and seen as like you know, oh my god, what a heartfelt guy sort of thing. So it's funny that you bring it up, because yeah, I probably was more worried about being called country, but less worried about being seen as like a pretentious so-and-so. Whereas like now I'm kind of the other way around. Like, no, I really want to be a country singer with a sense of humor sort of thing. So yeah, it's funny, just times, isn't it? You just get a bit older and
I
worry
think
about different things.
It's a weird thing, man, because I think, you know, I think Americana is called Americana because a lot of Americana is country music.
Yeah.
But people didn't want to market it as country. They were
Yeah,
scared of having that label because country has so much connotations with
yeah,
so many different things that to brand it that can hinder it. While if you call something Americana, which is so loosely defined,
yes, yeah,
you
yeah.
can put whatever you want on it. And it's the same with folk, really. It's so
Yeah,
loosely defined as what it is. It's like world music. It's like, well, what the fuck
yes,
does that actually
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. No, I think I think you've absolutely hit the nail on the head. I think if I think back to that time, I'm sure that would have been a factor. Like Americana is just something you can sell just that little bit easier.
Yeah.
I'm by sell, I mean sort of pitch to someone as like, oh, this is the kind of music that I play. Um, yeah, it's like it's just a bit broader, isn't it? Like somebody might think they can maybe it can invoke something in them that probably feels a bit safer to their mind,
Yeah.
maybe than like when I'm a country singer, like, well, bloody hell, like that's a strange thing to hear about. So, yeah, I think you're probably absolutely right, man.
Mm. With kind of embracing that country
Mm.
title, even and that sound, what was when you were writing You're Gonna Break My Heart, was that initially just on an acoustic guitar as you normally would, and then did you realize the arrangement later on when you were about to record it, or what was the kind of growth of that song?
Yeah, I think it was very much written on the acoustic, but I knew exactly what I was going for.
Mm.
And I think the only thing that I kind of regret was maybe not getting some lap steel on it or pedal steel because that's just like the ultimate like,
Yeah.
icing on the cake. Didn't pan out this time, but I knew that I wanted like the telecaster behind it and just the Rhodes keys and all the stuff that you kind of
Mm.
expect and the drums to feel really kind of earthy and that sort of thing and that it was and I was never going to touch it with anything that was going to feel like left field and
Yeah.
because left field choices can be the very best thing in some songs, but I just was like I really want this to feel like slightly kind of just of a moment
Yeah.
and which yeah, so that was it was baked in. It really
Mm.
was like baked in, like into the songwriting. It was like, well, this is where the telly solo is going to be, this is where the piano solo is going to be, and it was there from the and I knew that I wasn't going to throw in a middle eight with like an unusual change. It's like
Yeah.
it goes where you feel like it's going to go. It like and everything lasts for as long as you think it's going to last,
Yeah.
and the backing vocals remind you of the backing vocals, and like it was very much about that sort of like build with that in mind because so often it's the other way around, isn't it? You've got one idea and then it goes along and then someone adds something and it's like,
Yeah.
well, actually that really needs to go there and this sort of all changes that. Let's redo the drums or whatever it happens to be. And that's brilliant. That's all part of a lovely collaborative music making process.
Mm.
But no, this was like there was like the people that I sort of bounce ideas off and stuff. It was like there was no room for like it's like no no I know what it needs, and yeah, I think I just happened to have it up here like 2 minutes 46 like that was like that was kind of number between 2 minute 35 2 minute 50. I knew at that tempo that structure it's like it really should be that, so it's like
Yeah.
everything about it was kind of sort of part of the concept really.
Mm.
So
That's
yeah,
so cool.
and then it was just the challenge of actually putting it together. And it's the first one I've recorded myself,
Mm.
um, just sort of using my studio setup at home.
Oh,
And
awesome.
yeah, so it's sort of a bit of a kind of that personal challenge again. It's just like, can I do this? And between you and me and all your listeners, like I think I got like most of the way there. Like there's definitely, you always listen to stuff and you kind of, oh, maybe that didn't hit absolute mark that I'm going for, but I was obviously happy
Yeah.
enough with where I got it, and you kind of have to accept that sometimes. And actually, that was what's so nice about what Josh said. As I think he couldn't have known like that was the nicest compliment that he could have possibly given. Was that he was like, it sounds really nice, like it
Yeah.
sounds really kind of like old school and like kind of quite natural and
Yeah.
organic because you're trying to almost recreate something you can't possibly
Yeah.
tap into, which is all the old gear and all the old atmosphere and recording style. Like, there's no way I was ever going to be able to just go and do that. So that was probably the most encouraging thing that somebody has said about it, actually. So yeah, I was really really appreciated him saying that.
Mm.
Um, So yeah, it was all built in, and it was just the challenge was actually really trying to achieve the specific sound rather than
Yeah.
letting it evolve and that sort of thing. So
Mm. No, that makes total sense. With obviously like the telly and stuff, is it you playing the telly and things as well?
yeah, so that was so as I say, for the longest time I was on my cowboy chords and
Mm.
very happy. And I always had my band and the guys, and they were so good on guitar, and it's like I just didn't have the need to.
Yeah.
And then yeah, again, like probably such a universal thing, but COVID happened, and I was like, I am gonna learn to play country music telecaster guitar. And like, obviously I'm not like, oh, that's it, achieved, and I've mastered it sort of thing. Like it's a lifetime's work, but I made more progress in that year of solid deep COVID that we were
Hmm.
in than I had for the previous 11 years on guitar.
That's
I just
awesome. Where did you start with that type of stuff? Because I love that sound, and I've kind of dreamt of
mm,
achieving that sound and
yeah,
playing like
yeah,
that. One of the I come from heavy metal, and my
mm.
electric guitar that I have with me is a Dean Flying V with a P90
Yes.
humbuckers,
Oh, here we
which
go. Yeah,
isn't really the classic country sound.
yeah. No, no,
So I've
but
been
it is
thinking
a
of getting
classic sound though.
it's a
You're like,
classic
yeah.
sound. So I've been thinking of getting a telly. Where did you kind of start in your like learning of that sound
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
style?
Man, I had like so many like kind of full starts with it. Well, it helped initially that COVID had kicked off, and like everybody will remember, I'd gone from like commuting into the office every day to like I was working just like kind of where I am now, and instead of having this 8 to 10 hour gap where you're away from things, I just had it next to me.
Yeah,
And I mean, that could be anything, couldn't it? It could be practicing to draw, whatever it
yeah,
was. But that definitely helps. It was like send an email, pick it up, and just try and do this thing, and had all the access to all this time for it that didn't have before. So that definitely helped. And then I think the breakthrough I got was the the pentatonic scale,
mm,
which is like, I mean, it's like base level,
yeah,
but there'll be people listening to this like, oh my God, I learned that when I was like 11 years
yeah,
old. Like, what's this going about, sort of thing. But that's where it really unlocked. Like, I tried Rocksmith. Did you ever hear of that? It's
yeah,
like basically like a gamified version. And I kind of had some success, and I spent way too much money on like all the Johnny Cash songs on it and things like that. And you kind of like, you're learning it, but you're not really learning it in a way that you can like internalize. And
yeah,
like, if I went back to it now, I think I'd probably take more from it.
yeah.
But from the position of absolute new beginner, it probably wasn't quite right for me, at least. And then I had a couple of books, and then I found and I'm slightly loath to say it because I think the YouTube channel thing is kind of a slightly cursed thing. I've
Mm,
I've come to realize that people think you can sort of learn anything off YouTube, and of course it's incredible, but I found so many of the videos like really just more challenging than helpful.
yeah,
There was one particular channel, so I'm very happy to give him a shout out. It's called Anyone Can Play Guitar,
mm,
and he was all about like, let's teach this, but then let's like understand everything behind it.
yeah,
And he was very not obnoxious, very to the point, and didn't do anything. He didn't talk about anything that he didn't need to, and that really unlocked it for me.
mm.
So yeah, the pentatonic scale, man. It's the cage system. I'd
Yeah,
heard about the cage system for years. I don't know if like that rings a bell in
mm.
like when you've done your, looking around bits and pieces and stuff. But yeah, it was like and I was like, I can't believe this is just there the whole time. And I just like, I never like really had a way to apply it. So yeah, it was like a mixture of those two things. And then once you learn one thing, then when you go look at the book that
Yeah,
felt like a foreign language 2 months ago, it's like, right, okay, I can understand that. And then when I'd go and play my slightly silly, like gamified version of it, it was like, oh, okay, now I'm understanding this bit a
yeah,
bit better, and it all fed into each other. But yeah, get that, man, get those the major pentatonic scale,
yeah,
because in your heavy metal,
yeah.
it's
That's
all I'm
what you
guessing it's
kind
like
of
my,
grow up
yeah,
around.
is that all, that's all standard, is it?
Mm,
And but yeah, everyone was like, oh, the minor pentatonic is like what cool music sounds like, but the country music is all built on the major.
mm.
So I was like, okay, that's what I've hooked onto that. Like, I'm obsessed with this one thing now. So I just like kind of, yeah, dove into that. So it's probably like really basic to people that really do play guitar. And but yeah, that was the kind of hook for me.
Oh, that's awesome. I psyched myself out, I think, because I went straight to watching like Don Rich videos
Oh
with like
yeah,
Buck Owens and stuff, and was like,
yeah.
fuck. I was
Oh
like,
yeah, they're complete shredders, man. It's
yeah,
crazy. Like, yeah, he's an absolute like, and well, of course, like bluegrass. You know,
yeah.
like say no more. It's like absolute lightning, isn't it? So,
Mm.
yeah, there's some really nice, simple stuff out there, and I think you've had Charlie Marie on
Yeah,
your show. Yeah, she has a song called Countryside,
yeah.
which that was one of the very, very first things I learned.
Oh,
That little
really?
main
Cool.
hook,
Yeah,
yeah, that, and I, and that kind of was like, oh my God, this sounds like a country lick, like, and it's really simple. And then you realize, like, then the guy that I was watching, he did a Graham Parsons version of Streets of Baltimore,
mm.
which has a James Burton, like one of the top country players. But again, it's like not that complicated. It's kind of not that complicated to learn, but really, really hard to get sounding just right.
Yeah.
And then I had that little moment of like, that's in the same thing that the Charlie Marie thing is doing. And I guess everyone has those moments, don't they, where you've been going completely blind for
Yeah.
a few months and then suddenly something clicks, and whether it's learning the first chords or, whatever
Yeah.
your hobby happens to be. So yeah, but I absolutely love that song. And of course it helps if you're really happy to hear the music like again and again
Yeah.
and again,
No,
which
totally.
yeah, you need
Yeah.
to be able to like suffer through those repeats like over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love that song of hers. That's real like
No, that EP and an album,
mm,
that's just fucking incredible. I've not
yeah.
heard from her
Oh right.
recently. I don't know what she's up to. I'll have to go do a deep dive and see what she's up to.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
I'll
no,
post
she's
something.
fantastic, man.
Yeah.
And I was so like impressed that you had spoken to her just because I thought she's like just seems like quite an interesting person as well.
Yeah,
So,
did
yeah.
did you listen to that episode?
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That, like not what I expected, but so interesting and
Mm,
so
yeah.
just a really
Yeah, she's
fucking
like quite
fun
an
chat there.
engaging person, isn't
Yeah.
she? You just listen to her like, yeah, this she's could probably just tell a few stories, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, with the guitar thing, like, because I've always loved playing guitar. The thing with when I practice is I've always got sidetracked, so I'll start playing something,
Yeah.
and then I'll play it wrong and go, "Ooh,
Mm.
that might be a song that."
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I'll take that away and focus on that instead of doing the actual thing.
Yeah,
with,
but that's a process in itself though, isn't it? That's it's like less disciplined and like it's maybe not useful if you're really trying to learn that specific thing. But when you're coming at it from the position of like a songwriter, which of course you are, you can't help it. You just you hear that one like you play the chord in the wrong place and it's like, well, hang on, that sounded really cool. So maybe I don't need to learn all those shredding like licks because that's for someone like yourself, like that's a middle eight right there, isn't it? You hear that one chord and your brain just goes to that spot of like, well, hang on, I think I know how that would work, and it's a different thing. It's a blessing and a curse, because you're trying to learn other stuff. But I think you kind of you have to know that about yourself. Because I'm really similar to you. My old friends would teach me something and I'd pay attention for 15 minutes and then be like, yeah, but the thing you just showed me is I can write something with that, and then try and write a song, and it's kind of annoying for them because I've gone off on my own tangent, but it's just applying it in a way that's right for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I can relate to you there, man, definitely.
No, totally. It's so much fun though. I do need to get a Telecaster, I think, and start.
Yeah, and the Mexican ones, man, they're great. Like, they're not cheap, but you can get one for hundreds as opposed to thousands. So, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with those, man. I reckon you'd have seen plenty of bands out with that have had a Mexican telly, at least like in reserve,
Yeah. Do you know, I think I was talking about this with Chris Dover and Ashley Harding because they're just guitar virtuosos. It's not fair how good they are. But they found Telecasters for like 90 quid.
Oh,
and
no way.
they bought one each. I think Chris bought one, and I think someone else was looking at one, and they sounded fucking phenomenal. So I'm thinking I might even just get one of those. I'll find the link and send it to you. It's not, fell off the back of a truck. It's all above board. I'm not writing out this podcast by saying it's a sweatshop guitar or something. It's just a cheap thing, but they look the part.
Yeah. And also like the tellies always have a bit of a grungy, dirtiness to them anyway. So like, if it's got a bit of that going for it, it's no harm done.
Yeah. I just don't know how to actually hold a non-pointy guitar anymore.
Well,
unless it's an acoustic, everything else just has spikes, and I'm just like, this is how I have an electric guitar. But
Oh, but man, everyone should, own a flying V if they possibly can.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the telecaster of like thrash, isn't it? Like, it's just so like iconic. But I'd have the opposite problem when I've held them. I'm like, I don't know what is going on. Like,
Yeah.
why does it have two legs? And like, where
Yeah.
do I put them?
Well,
Like,
that's the thing. Like, I've never liked sitting. I think I've played like 5 gigs where I've sat down
right,
because
right, yeah,
I've grown up. I've had a flying V since I was like 14.
right.
But that was always the guitar I played with, and you can't really play that. So you can
No,
put it through like over your name tag
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff,
that's
but
it. And
it's just not fun. So whenever I practice, even to this day with an acoustic guitar, I'm standing up, walking around the house playing. I very rarely sit down to do stuff
right,
just because it annoys me. I always
yeah.
cramp up in the back of my shoulder because I'm not used to just sitting with my elbow up that high.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, but flying V's, you can't sit with a flying V. They're
No.
made to be walked around and like, yeah,
Yeah.
doing your best Megadeth like impressions. This the grass is always greener, man. Because I'm like now, like I love thrash, like Metallica. I think
Mm.
are absolutely phenomenal. Love Megadeth, love Slayer, all the big thrash guys. And like, there isn't a day where I'm like, oh, I should just jack it in and just try and learn. Like, I just want to learn riffs. Like, I just
Yeah.
want to learn riffs. Like, Hangar
Yeah.
18. Like, just give me that. Just give me all of that. It's like, no, come on, you've chosen your path. Like,
But I always try and write riffs now in
yeah,
terms of like chord structures and stuff. I always kind of find that fun to do is to try and relay that mindset
mm,
into this type of music, which I always find fun because there are some really, really good riffs in country music.
yeah, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Jeez, like
Mm.
the Mo Haggard stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like become like iconic, really, isn't it? Yeah, that's something that's really alien to my brain. Like, I really find it that I like rhythms. I can, and like establish that a song is going to feel a certain way and punch at certain notes
Yeah.
and not on others. That I can get, but the idea of like having a counter melody and then
Mm.
being able to somehow like come up with something on top of it completely, I don't think I could ever write a song that way.
Mm.
Like, and yeah, like you say, like the metal guys, that's that's day one, isn't it? That's how a song starts, is with
Yeah.
something that is already so full of like detail and
Mm.
its own melody, and then they find something on top of it. And I guess that's half the reason why so much of like old thrash is like guys shouting. And
Yeah. Just to try and get
Metallica,
the
I think,
words out before
yeah, yeah,
they
it's
forget
like
what place they're
because
in.
there's already so much going on, isn't there? But yeah, I think if you can apply that discipline,
Mm.
yeah, that's great stuff happens because that's hard, man,
Yeah.
definitely.
And with obviously with You're Gonna Break My Heart coming out
Mm,
last week, you said you were working on new material, which is in
yeah.
the vein of country rock and old country and stuff.
Mm.
Is that kind of because you said you've got songs kind of recorded in different stages? Is that, or are you working on new things to bring out as well?
Yeah, it's kind of like there's been these kind of seven, and I'm working on them all, and then I think I'm going to try and find the four
Yeah.
that just work and sound really and feel really really nice together. Um, but yeah, I feel like there's some kind of feedback that I get is that I come across very one way recorded
Mm.
and quite differently live.
Mm.
Because I'm sure this is something that you've probably experienced that yeah, like for me, like a live performance was always like about energy and
Yeah.
engaging people. And again, like yeah, I grew up in thrash bands, and then like even my old band, which were sort of grungy country, that sort of thing. It was all about like the immediacy and
Yeah.
turning up and like trying to as best as possibly can like really blow people away and all the rest of it. And I've never really left that mindset. And then sometimes something that people told me is that like there's kind of two different me's really. The
Mm.
stuff that gets recorded, which is very much like put on a Sunday and having is very nice like music,
Mm.
but rarely like upbeat. And then people see me live and it's quite different, and it is a bit more like that. And so I just think, well, okay, now I want to get something that reflects the
Yeah.
vibe that I have
Awesome.
live.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, a bit more songs with like those kind of mid tempos and then upbeat stuff. So yeah, I feel like I know which songs it's going to be, and they're all going to have a minimum 50% country flavor all the way to like straight up
Nice.
country rock. Um, so it will always be in there, and I'm too in love with the genre to possibly leave it aside. I think
Yeah,
it's just you put a pedal steel on something, it's like, well, that's better. You know, like it's
it
better than it
is.
was. Yeah, like just for that being there, and it really doesn't matter if it's like indie or whatever. So it'll be a factor in it from start to finish, kind of different for each song. Um, and yeah, I just kind of want to bring out some of that energy. I think
Nice.
that, now that I'm in a position to sort of, now I'm not so tired. Like my kids are a bit older, it made sense to write sleepy music when I was so sleepy.
Yeah,
But now I've got a bit more free time and stuff. It's like, no,
yeah.
I want to turn up places and have something really cool and upbeat to
No.
play. So.
And did playing with Vandaliers kind of strengthen your resolve in that way? Because obviously they're such an
Yeah,
energetic band. To see them
yeah.
kind of do that, did that reinforce your idea?
Yeah, do you know what? It's actually funny because like they're like such wild dudes, and like they, I think, saw me as like the very sensible guy who turned up and sung some like pretty songs before them, and I think they came out and even made a comment like, thanks Jack for this music, but it was like, but now we're gonna do something like way different kind of thing. And he wasn't like being mean or anything.
Yeah.
He was just like, I don't know if you've ever met the guy. I think is it Jake maybe? Can't remember
No,
his
I've
name now.
not. I've talked to them online and stuff, but they've
They
not
are
come over this way yet.
they are in person as you see them online. Like they just like that, and in straight away, like I went and said hello to them, and I think they were already like quite a few beers deep, and it's like, yep, yeah, this is Vandaliers, like 100%. And I did kind of feel like, oh man, like I'm usually the loud guy, and then and they had seen me as like the kind of like sensible, reserved dude, and I thought, and I did, yeah. It's funny that you asked that because I was a bit like, yeah, I could go for a bit of that.
Yeah.
Like, turn up and make a bit of a racket sort of thing. So yeah, I do think it had been so long. I hadn't played a gig since Christmas 2019 before
Mm.
the world turned on its head. And then that was really just oh my God, I just need to play something to some
Yeah.
people. And I'm lucky that it was such an awesome show. Um, yeah, and in that time, things did feel so different. Like,
Yeah.
I was in a different place than I what was at 2019, and I'm so much more eager for that bit of noise now, and that that energy that I guess is is created by having it taken away, isn't it?
Yeah. No,
You
totally.
not go to a gig for like 18 months, or I used to play a gig every 3 to 4 weeks at a
Mm.
minimum for 10, 15 years, and then suddenly it's like, wow, I haven't done that for
Yeah.
3 years, nearly 2.5 years. And then of course you want the loudest, most energetic thing that you can possibly get, can't you, at that point?
Mm.
So yeah, I do think that did help kind of facilitate that idea 100%.
Oh, cool. And we'll wrap this up now. But do you have
Mm.
any gigs kind of lined up for the rest of the year? Do you have anything coming up
Yeah,
to
so
plug?
I started putting all the feelers out, and there things are sort of starting to emerge. I'm sure it'll be announced by the time this comes out, and feel free to chop and change anything that is not no longer appropriate or whatever. But we have a festival over here, the 11th of Feb, Beam Me Up. So
Oh,
this,
cool.
whether or not this will be in the past by then,
I
or
think this will come out on the 6th, so the week before
okay.
or the week of, basically.
Well, amazing. In that case, yeah, so 11th of Feb, at the O2 Academy, we've got a festival called Beam Me Up with Opus Kink, Self Help. I'm trying to think who else. The People Versus, who I'm sort of slightly familiar with a couple of those guys. And I think there's a Lincoln leg of it as well, there's but two separate bills. So
Mm.
11th of Feb, yeah, and yeah, I'm going to be playing stuff that is new with a few of the old ones as well,
Cool.
and some very nice, sensible songs, and then some slightly louder, balmier ones as well.
And have
So
you looked,
yeah,
obviously, with You're Gonna Break My Heart and stuff, with the more instrumentation, have you looked at putting a band or a duo or stuff together
yeah.
for these
So
shows?
yeah, and I did
Yeah.
pre-COVID play with a bunch of guys, and and that was one of the things is that everyone was like, there's so much more energy, and there's just more in what you're doing there than this fairly like stripped back song. So yeah, and again, that's kind of been everyone's in a slightly different spot now. We've all just been through this collective shift. So it's happening, it's underway, but probably not for the 11th.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I just kind of got the itch for that.
Yeah. No, it makes
the
sense.
proper kick of like
Yeah.
drums behind it and stuff, and being maybe a little bit noisier than it should be, and all that sort of stuff. That
Mm.
all the old habits,
Yeah.
like I know this song should be quiet, but we're gonna play it loud, kind of
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, I think in time, definitely.
Yeah. Right, man. And last question, just because I
Mm.
can't believe we've spoken for an hour and I've not asked you what was at the top of my list, was My Crooked Teeth. Where did that moniker and title come from to
Yeah.
perform on that project?
So I think I'm pretty sure it's a misheard Death Cab for Cutie
Mm.
lyric from the song Crooked Teeth. And Benjamin Gibbard, I think, is a phenomenal songwriter, and I love Death Cab. And funnily enough, I mean, he's made some really great country stuff as well. He's got a
Mm.
solo album with some really, really good country songs on it, and he's sort of dipped in and out of it through various projects. Jay Farrar, he made one, and made really, really good album with him. And I do have a couple of really crooked teeth, so it's like it seemed like, well, that's like a natural fit. And I think just being called Jack Olhafsky, it's like
Yeah.
I'll ask people to learn that and get it right and things. And my crooked teeth is three very simple words.
Yeah. No,
So,
that makes sense, man. That's awesome. But thank you so much for talking to me tonight, man.
mate,
I've really appreciated.
oh, Mike, honestly, thank you so much. And just to say, and if whether or not you'll put it in is totally up to you. But I've so much respect for what you and the guys do, man.
Oh,
And
thank you so much.
such a positive influence and impact on obviously music that we both really, really care about. And that just really comes across like
Mm.
in the things that you're involved with. And when I've messaged you and you've like, you didn't know me and you sent me back and sent me some really helpful stuff, and you produce great content. And I think it's really important, really healthy for the for
Mm.
the music that we obviously, yeah, really really love. So a massive thank you to you and Josh as well. That was
Mm.
really sweet, some of the things that he'd said about the single. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a real pleasure, and thank you very much for having me.
No, thanks so much, man. I was texting Josh about you the other day because finding your music is what makes all this worthwhile.
Mm.
It's what keeps us going to hear you putting your heart and soul into this type of music in the UK. So it's a massive thank you to you, man. That's the
Oh, great,
important
thanks,
thing.
man. And maybe we'll have a chance to grab a beer one of these days or something.
Most definitely. I've already got gears in my head to work on something.
Oh, fantastic, lovely.
And there we have it, folks. Go check out My Crooked Teeth over on Facebook and Twitter. I believe he doesn't have an Instagram. I might poke him into getting one because he needs to reach as many people as he can. Make sure you listen to him on Spotify. Make sure you follow him on Bandcamp. And make sure you listen to the brand new single, You're Gonna Break My Heart. It is fucking phenomenal. You will not regret listening to it. Thank you so much, My Crooked Teeth, for making the time. Thank you so much to our upcoming guest, Frank Turner. You heard it here first. He is going to be the next episode, and it was really nice to talk to him about songwriting and touring and punk music and playing the Houses of Parliament and tons of other things. But make sure you check out American Aquarium on tour. Make sure you check out John R. Miller and JP Harris on tour. And make sure you check out Mike and the Moon Pies on tour. And make sure you keep checking out UK country and roots artists, because you will not be disappointed in what you find. Until next time, folks, keep supporting the things you love. Keep doing the things you love. Peace.